Yeah. Okay. I'm recording it too.
Okay, cool. My connection is excellent. There we go. We're live. Okay. We are live. Oh, I don't have any sound.
Recording
Okay,
it
good.
too. Oh,
Okay,
it says
good.
avoid
My
legal
connection is
things.
excellent.
Anna, do
There we
you
go. We're
consent?
live. Okay.
Yes.
No. We are live. Oh, I don't have any sound. Okay. Everything good? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. All right. I fixed the sound. Okay. We are live here. Finally, we got everything taken care of. Wait, can I hear the sound? Can they hear us? Can you guys let me know if you guys can hear us, please? Drop a line in the chat. Okay, so here's the thing, Elizabeth. You cannot see the chat, only I can. So I'll have to convey to you what is coming through, okay?
Okay.
Analytics, stream health. This is what we want. Yeah. Okay. Oh, you can see the mouse moving over the screen. So I'm gonna try to not to do that. You see my mouse moving? I can see my mouse moving. Okay, so
I was like, I can't.
I can't see anything, so I move my mouse out the way. You don't see it? I can see it.
I just see you.
Okay, so let's see. I want to make sure everything is up and running. There we go. Yeah, we are there. Okay, cool. Okay, so we have about 4 minutes, so we'll wait just a little bit. Check the video resolution. Okay, so we have about 4 minutes, so we're just going to wait a little bit for people to come on over and join us. All right.
Okay.
You do have the link, right? I just want to make sure.
For the live?
Yeah, did you copy it into your Instagram bio, the link?
Not into bio, just into
Yeah,
the
you have
post.
to, well, they can't click on it on the post. You have to go and put it in your bio, add it into the website, and then you tell them that link is in your bio, and then they go in there. And they could
Oh.
click on it because they can't click on it on your post.
I know, but they can copy and paste it.
They cannot actually from an Instagram post.
Really?
That is correct.
Oh, well, snap.
Yes, so you have to go and put it in your bio.
But if I swipe up, you're not going to be able to see me.
Well, it's not going to take you forever. You have like 3 minutes. You're going to be okay.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Quick like a bunny.
I'm not going to move my phone, so that way.
Don't you? You should have your laptop up. Oh, but you copied the link in your phone, huh?
Yeah.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see. Edit.
If you guys are here, please let us know if you are on. We have just a couple minutes or so before we get started. All right. If you guys are on and you guys are watching us now, we still have about 2 minutes before we get started. Elizabeth is doing what she needs to do in terms of copying it to all of her social media to make sure that everybody has access to it. And we will get started in just a couple minutes. I want to make sure that everything is set up and ready to go. Again, if you are here with us, please let us know that you're on and watching. You can say hello. You can drop an emoji. You can drop whatever it is that you would like. Just to let us know that you're here, please.
Mine won't highlight, so I'm just
Highlight what?
Like it won't highlight the link.
Where are you copying it from?
From the thing.
What thing? Copy it from the Facebook post, because you can't copy anything from Instagram. You have to do it from Facebook. Facebook's the only place you can copy and paste. So copy it from your Facebook, go to your bio and paste the link there. I'm surprised that you don't know this. You should be on it.
I know. Yeah, and save changes. Are you sure you want to cancel? Yes.
Ouch, ouch. You got about a minute or so. No pressure, but a little bit of pressure.
I'm trying.
Again, if you guys are here with us, just let us know that you're here. Drop an emoji or say hello. Please also let us know if you can hear us. I think you can. We should have everything ready to go. Elizabeth is not on screen right now. She is setting up all her social media shares, and as soon as she gets back, we will get started. We have about a
Okay.
minute or so. So, all right, let's see. There is a little bit of lag, just so everybody knows. So bear with us if things don't make sense. Okay, Elizabeth, you are back.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I think. Okay, there we go. All right. I believe okay, it's 2:00. We are ready to go. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for coming to spend a little bit of time with us on this Monday afternoon. I know there's a lot of us are home doing work or distance learning or whatever the case may be, but hopefully you guys have the opportunity to just swing on over for a little while and spend some time with us and chit chat and getting to know both myself and Elizabeth. I am Anna Romero. I am the voice and the creator behind Goddess Guidance. You can find me here on YouTube. You can also find me on Instagram and on Facebook. You can, let's see, well, I'll copy that in just a second. I'll paste it in just a second. I am an intuitive reader and I'm also a curandera, and I'm also focused, my overall work is focused on women, but not exclusive to women, and I focus on self-empowerment. I'm here in existence on this earth to provide insight and guidance for both from an intuitive aspect and also all surrounding self-empowerment. Okay. I am, let's see, what's the word? Where I'm always learning. We never master anything because we are constantly students. So I enjoy learning and researching and figuring out all these different things. I like learning from different people. I like sharing whatever it is that I have learned, and it's all part of why we're here, especially why I'm here. And that I just say especially because, it's my own personal journey and mission and whatnot. All right, let's see. Where should we begin? Okay. Today we are here with my niece, Liz Ybanez. She is the voice and the creator behind the Crunch Time Coffee Talk podcast. So Elizabeth, introduce yourself to us. Go ahead and step in and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Liz. As she mentioned, I am the creator of the Crunch Time Coffee Talk podcast, as well as a little mini bow business called the Itty Bitty Coffee Shop. My Instagram handle is at the Itty Bitty Coffee Shop, where I share a little bit of motivation, a little bit of what is going on in my life, and as well as any drops in my shop or as far as in my podcast. I am a mama too. I am married, and I think that's pretty much it. That's pretty much my intro, my bio.
So tell us, thank you for being here. So also when you get a chance, after this is over, if you can go back into the comments and post all your social media handles so that everybody has access to you, as well as your podcast website. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So um, let's start off with, what is the Crunch Time Coffee Talk podcast? What is it?
The Crunch Time Coffee Talk podcast i- is basically a podcast that was made for those mothers, or just people in general. It just isn't necessarily reflected to just moms, but it's um, everybody as a whole. And it's for those people that are looking for some motivation, that are going through tough times, that need kind of somebody to give them the boot to be like, you got this, you can do this. And really, it's basically a podcast to relate to daily things that you might be struggling with. That I know most of us go through Google and stuff like that to kind of relate, to see who else is going through the same thing as us. So that's kind of what it's built upon: motivation, being relatable, mom things, and that's pretty much what it is.
Now let me ask you something. You said most of us go on Google to see who else is out there that is kind of going through the same things that we are, right?
Hmm.
Is that something that you did?
Yeah, and when I remember it quite like it was yesterday. When I made the podcast, I was sitting in my living room, and my husband Chris was playing his video games, and I was going through kind of like my anxiety, depression kind of thing because I had just finished my school for ultrasound tech, and I was going through a little bit of things in my life, and so I would always Google, okay, who's experiencing this? Are these their symptoms? Is there any blogs that I can relate to? And I couldn't really find anything that really correlated with what hand in hand that I was experiencing, the type of person that I am. And so then I got directed to podcasts, and I found one podcast person that was making podcasts, but she kind of stopped 3 episodes in. So I told myself, I said, you know what? I'm going to make a podcast, and I'm going to talk about what struggles I have in my daily life, what I'm going through, what I'm experiencing, but I'm going to post frequently. I'm going to make sure that whoever is looking up my podcast or whoever's looking up this specific episode can be like, oh, there's more than one episode. There's hope that I can listen to all that she has to say, and then maybe I can kind of reflect it in my daily life. And that's the reason why I told my husband, I said, I'm going to make a podcast. And he's like, okay, do it. So I'm like, okay, I'm doing it. Let's do this. Let's make a podcast. So
What is it? So, okay, you went to the internet, or you went to the virtual world to see who's out there that's experiencing the same things you are. What did you reach out or look into your immediate community, in your real life situation, in your real life environment, in your surroundings? Did you even check there, or how, I mean, was it an option for you? How did you feel about your in-person community in terms of
as
what you
far
were
as
looking for?
my in-person community, I had I think at that time we had the women's circle, which is what you host through your goddess guidance. I also was directly working with you during that time with your intuitive reading, but it was more of like a guidance session as directly in terms of like my personal community. Other than that, I didn't really have because I don't hold a lot of like friends in my close circle. It's more family. I tend to not reach out, close to my inner circle because the things that I go through, not that I'm embarrassed to share it with people, but more of like that's something that I'm going to hold to myself, which is really why, as far as in the personal aspect, I kind of went through
Where is
goddess
that?
guidance, is because um, I knew that you were going to help or eventually guide me to see where I can fix things in my life, I guess you could say. So, long story short, not the scenic route. The first step that I did was I went through the women's circle. I attended one women's circle meeting, and then the next step was I went and booked a session with you as far as your extensive guidance reading, and then from there I went and looked on Google and stuff like that to further expand my research.
I think I can relate. I relate to you in terms of why we don't necessarily reach out to family members, and it's not so, like you said, it's not so much that we're embarrassed. I'm personally just an overall just a really private person. Yeah, I'm on social
Yeah.
media, and yeah, I have provided the safe space, which is the goddess guidance, to help people to work with each other, to support each other. But overall, I'm still I'm a pretty private person. I mean, that's just how it is.
Mhm.
Not I have secrets or I'm embarrassed. It's just I'm private. That's just how I am in general. So I understand when you say you don't reach out to family members, because even though I talk with you all and I communicate with you all, there's still, like I said, there's aspects of my life, probably like 75% of my life, that no, you guys don't really know about, and I don't really want to share it. I don't
Mhm.
know why. It's just, I don't know, kind of like when you go out to the internet, it's like the anonymity of talking about what's going on is the good thing. It's like, it's the benefit. It's helpful. It also, that in and of itself, the anonymity to me kind of is the safe space. It allows us this opportunity to share and be free and not have to like, oh, well, that's Elizabeth that said that, or that's Anna that said that. You know, it's like the spotlight isn't on us. It's just the experiences, the happenings, and the words that are out there that are being shared and that are being, you know, I guess, made public, so to speak. So I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But you did mention thank you for mentioning my intuitive readings, the extensive empowerment sessions, and the women's circle. And what she's referring to is probably 2 years ago, I started hosting women's circles. And what they consist of is just a group of women coming together and supporting and discussing life in and of itself. It's not you don't have to come in and, you know, reveal any deep dark secrets. We're not doing any, it's not religious based. To me, it is spiritual because it's my work, but it's a neutral situation for us to come in and feel safe, to feel comfortable, always 100% confidential. And usually I'll bring about a topic, you know, for example, let's talk about self-esteem, or today we're going to talk about mental health. And it's not a school type environment. It's the environment like, okay, let's talk about mental health today. And then we chime in as to, you know, what that means to us and how it's affected over whatever comes to us. And it's a very comfortable environment. It's a very neutral environment. And even though we're face to face, and this is, you know, there's names to the words and the experiences that are coming about, it is still 100% confidential. That was about 2 years ago, and it was inconsistent, and it kind of just dropped off. I went through, you know, some medical issues for like the last 2 years that just completely made it. I didn't even think about dealing with it, but now it's time for those things to come back. So I'm going to start hosting them again, probably within the next month or so. I'll have a date, and they are going to be local in Bakersfield. They're not going to be virtual, at least not right now. And they're going to be outdoors in a park because in Bakersfield, Elizabeth, as you know, the weather is starting to ease up. It's permitting for us to actually be outside. And so it's going to be at a park, you know, local outdoors, so that we don't have to worry about being confined to, you know, a closed space, especially with all the chaos that's happening right now. And, you
Mm-hmm.
know, you go to the park and you bring a drink and you just relax. You know, that's the goal. So those are going to be coming back up again. I hope maybe that you can start attending here and there, but it's going to take a while for it to get off the ground because people are unfamiliar with it. And like I said, you know, the anonymity is like our safe zone. So when you go in person, you have these conversations, all of a sudden you feel like your safety net was taken away. So it's going to take a while for people to get comfortable and want to actually sit face to face and just, you know, want to share and want to support each other. Because it's not just about venting, it's about being there and listening to people and just being a support system. You know that when you sit there, you are being supported. We're all being supported by each other. And that's probably the most important thing. I don't want you to walk away feeling like, dang, I really had this conversation, but, you know, so and so over there just kind of gave me this look, or, you know, I heard that comment that she made. That's not what I want. And I will just make it public right now. If any of those things are happening, that's it. It's a wrap. You know, person A,
Mm-hmm.
they're done. They're done. I don't tolerate disrespect. I don't like breach of confidentiality. I don't like any of that stuff. I don't. All these things are very, very important to me. So they're the foundation as to, you know, of the women's circle. Without that, there wouldn't be any women's circles. But I digress. They are going to start back up in about a month or so. They are local to Bakersfield. They'll be outdoor at a park. And hopefully my goal is to have them every month-ish or so, because, you know, sometimes it doesn't work out. But she also mentioned in my intuitive readings, and those are intuitive readings that I mainly just provide guidance and insight from our divine spiritual support teams. And that means spirit, ancestors, spirit guides, guardian angels, whoever your spiritual support team is, that's who I convey messages from. That's who I connect with. And that's who I serve as a vessel for whatever message or information or guidance or whatever comes through for you at the time from your spiritual support team. And in terms of the extensive empowerment sessions, that is a reading, but going in deeper, focusing on some very specific things, or like Elizabeth mentioned, talking about things that she feels though she needed to fix. Now, I don't feel as though you had to fix anything. I just feel as though maybe you were taking some look at some things and realized, okay, that needs to change. I don't want it to go on this route
Mm-hmm.
anymore. It's going to go over there. So it wasn't broken per se, but you made some conscious changes as to what you wanted things to look different. So you made those changes. So that's what she's referring to in terms of the extensive extensive sessions. Those are going to come back probably soon. I'm not ready for them yet, but they will be coming back as well. Those will be available, and I'll post them on my website as soon as they do become available. But yes, so me and Elizabeth we have worked together quite a bit for some years now, actually. You know, we have she spent some time with me and getting some readings from me. We worked in the extensive empowerment sessions, which I feel have helped her grow so very much, because when we were first communicating, yes, she's my niece, but when it comes to, you know, the business aspect of it, she is, you know, she is a supporter. I am her mentor. That's how we relate when it comes to that aspect of it. And when she first started, if you don't mind me sharing, can I share a little bit about how
Yeah.
things were? Well, when she first started, she was very kind of all over the place, kind of very like an octopus. Like she had so many tentacles everywhere, so many stretched out everywhere. She was just frazzled everywhere. Like her hair was fritzed, and her face was kind of like just kind of frazzled. That's how I could describe it. And eventually, as she started to talk more, because all I do is I sit and I listen, and whatever message or insight is coming through, that's what I relay. And normally, from the messages that are coming through, or the guidance or the insight from that information, is how Elizabeth makes those determinations, how she chooses to make decisions, how she takes that information and sees it and decides whether she's going to apply it, or whether she's going to embrace it, or just, throw it to the wayside. It doesn't even matter. That's how readings and guidance sessions work. Now, from there to now, I have seen you grow. I have seen you understand yourself better. I have seen you understand the concept of your free will. I have seen you understand that your life can look however you want it to look like. You dealt a lot with comparison. You dealt a lot with people pleasing, which, we're constantly still working through, but I've seen you grow so much. And it's not so much because of the empowerment sessions, but because you gave yourself the opportunity to step back and look at life differently. You gave yourself the opportunity to understand that nobody can assign feelings, thoughts, and emotions or outcomes to your life. That's your life, and you make those decisions. So that's how I've seen you grow, and you've come such a long way, because not only have you've been doing the shadow work and the emotional work and the physical work, but you've also realized that from all of that, you can create something. And I see that's how your podcast came to be. So, and I'm proud of you for that, because you're creating and you're putting yourself out there and you're growing. And I want you to know that I'm very, very proud of you and your podcast and your bows that are starting to come out that are brand new. I'm very proud of you. So congratulations on that. I
Thank
see
you.
that my brother has logged in. So Marcos, I see you. Thank you for being here. He said Marcos in the house.
Oh my God.
Thank you very much for being here. So now I wanted to talk a little bit about, no, let me ask you this. So you mentioned that as you were looking up podcasts, you had come across someone that had started a podcast, but you noticed that it kind of dropped off after 3 episodes, and you committed. Marco says I am also very proud of her and the work that she does. See, so we are
Aw.
all very proud of you. So
Thank you.
you mentioned that you told your husband, you told Chris, that you are going to commit to being consistent about your episodes. Why do you think that it dropped off? Because I'm sure as you started creating all these episodes, I'm sure that you felt as though you wanted to not necessarily give up, but you kind of wanted to just let it die down. You didn't want to invest so much time and attention in the, creating the episodes. So how was it different for you? How did you overcome wanting to let it just die down and wanting to be like, no, I don't feel like doing it, or, nah, I don't think it's worth it, or I don't think people are listening. How are you being consistent with your commitment to consistent episodes? Excuse me.
Well, for starters, when I started my podcast, I was strictly a stay-at-home mom, just finished school. My daughter, which is Isabella, she was in kindergarten, I believe. She started kindergarten. And so when I dropped her off at school, I had kind of like a system to where I would do my morning walk and then I would come home and I record an episode. And it wasn't it, I went through a whole different phase. So at first, when I started the podcast, I was like, okay, I'm going to have a list. I'm going to have structure. I'm going to have this because that's just who I am. And it just wasn't working. It kind of like veered me to not wanting to record the episode. So because my daughter was at school, it allowed me to be committed. And then it was also something that I was looking forward to, which also allowed me to stay committed as well. But as time went on, I want to say I stood pretty committed up until my Chris had his surgery, and then that's kind of when things kind of like stumbled because I found out I was pregnant. There was another chapter in my life, and so because I record these podcasts the same time that I'm living my life, it kind of just, it's kind of like I tripped and I fell. And so I found out I was pregnant, and then I was dealing with the surgery that my husband had. And then I came back and I informed everybody, like, hi, hello, I'm back. Where has she been? And so my whole thing is I like to, even though I'm in and out, I'm popping in and out, I like to keep my listeners informed as far as what I'm going through, where'd she go? Why did she just disappear? Because I feel like, as listeners, you deserve to know. I'm going on this, they're coming on this journey with me in my life. And so they deserve to know what happened, why all of a sudden, poof, she left. And so as after I became pregnant, I noticed that it was a really hard struggle to keep up with my episodes. And it was not so much that I wanted them to just kind of like fade off in the distance. It was just more of like, I was always so tired. I was always so sick. And so I tried to keep up with them as much as I could. And then, things happen. Again, a new chapter in my life. I had a kid. And that also, when big life events happen is when things normally kind of put my podcast on the back burner. And so I was learning how to be a mom of two. I was learning how to balance my husband's new job, his new career that he's transitioning into. And so it was a little difficult for me to be able to maintain my podcast. And that's kind of what I'm struggling with right now is my podcast is kind of on not so much the back burner, but I'm kind of teetering with it because I am committed. I want to record episodes, but I can't record an episode that I feel forced to record because I have to wake up and I have to feel, the urge to like, it's kind of like, I know it sounds weird, but I mean, I've told you before, but you kind of call them downloads. And so when you say a download, you're saying you have this thought in your brain, and that's what tells me that I need to record this day. And my latest episode, which was my super huge, not super huge, but it was some sort of mental breakdown that I had because of my depression, because I came out with it. And I felt like I needed to get these things off of my chest. So my brain was like, you need to do it now. This episode had been in the works for quite a couple of weeks. And I'm like, okay, you need to do it now. You just need to do it now. Don't edit it. Just send it off to the world and then go off from there. So that's kind of the how I kind of stay committed is just by when I get the urge, in this particular situation, I feel the need that I have to record an episode, and that's just kind of how it's been.
Okay, so we have a question for Marcos. I have a couple
Okay.
questions too, but Marcos asks, does the
Okay.
podcast allow you to live your life through the podcast, or does it allow you to vocalize what's going on in your life, as in keeping them separate?
Um, it allows me to vocalize my life
So you
because
don't
when
keep so you do you are so you're not keeping them separate. The podcasting is part of your life, and your life is coming through in the podcast. Is that what you're saying?
um, I guess I guess it's a little bit of both because I do keep it separate, but I also vocalize my life through it because when certain situations happen, um, that's when I vocalize it through my podcast episode. I mean, my content is from my life. that's how I get my content. So, I mean, I guess it's a little bit of both, if
Hmm.
that makes sense.
Does that make sense, Marcos? Is that kind of answering what you were asking? So Alex was in the house. Alexander Wallace. He
Oh
said,
my God.
Alex also in the house, but not gonna chat because I'm grounded. Woo! So
Oh,
we need to keep him on
okay.
the DL.
It's because my mom's at work. Oh no, my mom should be off
Oh,
soon.
it said it kind of answered the question. So let's see. Can you
Okay.
reword the question, Marco, so that maybe we're not
Yeah,
understanding
because
it?
I was kind of confused about what
Yeah.
you want, what you're asking.
So, but while he does that, what is your
Okay.
website so I can type it in? It's Liz. What is it?
My podcast
Yeah,
website? Lizzie.luna, something.
Podbean.
If you go to Podbean,
Well,
type
I was
in,
trying not to veer
oh,
away from it.
elaborate so much.
No, I was trying not to leave can you still see me?
Yeah.
Okay, there it is. I didn't want to go and copy it because then you can see my mouse going all over the screen.
Oh,
That's why I found it
I
right
see.
there.
Okay.
And so let's see, I can push. So if you oh shit, I was like, I don't have a podcast. I created an account on Podbean so I can follow you guys, and it
Uh-huh.
wants me to create a podcast. So
No,
there's
you
a
don't
list.
have to, but
Well,
it gives you the
yeah.
option to.
So there's
Yeah.
Elizabeth's website to her podcast. Please feel free to go check it out so you can get a better understanding as to what she's talking about in terms of when she started and being consistent, or how she's evolved, and what's different for you and those big life experiences that she's talking about. I have also posted my website, where at my website you can find a plethora of things about me. You can find out a little bit more about who I am and what I do, how I work with others. You will find my blog/journal, because I'm very open and honest about how I post blogs. It's not your typical blogging type situation. I just go and kind of just, like Elizabeth said, we receive downloads, and whatever I'm hit with in the morning or whatever time of day it is, I got to get it out. And so that's what I do. You can my YouTube link is on my website. You can find testimonials from people that I've worked with. Elizabeth's obviously on there because we spent a lot of time together. What else can you find? You can book services on my website, and you can also reach out to me because you can email me directly from my website. And you can also see events that are coming up. For example, this live with Elizabeth was posted on there as an upcoming event, because I want everybody to be able to have the opportunity to come hang out with us and not miss anything. So please go check out her podcast, and also swing by and spend some time on my website. We would both greatly, greatly appreciate it. Also, feedback. Both of us would love to hear your feedback. So don't hesitate. Don't be shy about it. Just don't be rude.
Yes.
But yes, please feel free to. Yeah, don't give me the rude stuff. It's not that I can't take constructive criticism. That's not what it is. But just don't be rude. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So Marcos cleared up the question. He said, do you live through your podcast or just use certain segments from your life? Oh, that's what that meant.
So it's just certain segments of my life.
Yeah, so she just does certain segments of her life.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, so he's obviously listened to your podcast because he's giving specific things. He's saying, with the depression, I understand that you use certain life points, not so much a continuous life event, day by day update. And that goes back to the segment things. How, as you were sharing your depression, you just took bits and pieces that you felt that you needed to use, or that you felt you needed to share. So yes. And he also says, my favorite was Pregno Journey. That's his favorite.
The pregnant journey was a short lived, because I felt like a lot of my listeners came for motivation. Instead of hearing TMI, like, I was really sick today, I couldn't get the urge to get up today, kind of thing. So it was like a certain amount of portion of my pregnancy journey. And then I went back to, the motivation and stuff like that. I just wanted my listeners to know, like, hey, I got a baby coming.
Now, with what you just said, that you want your listener, you want there to be more motivation than anything else available to your listeners. So you want kind of kept the crappy part out. But at the same time, isn't that why you created your podcast, was so that people can to relate to real life?
Yes, but in as far as for the pregnancy segment, it was just um, based on kind of like updates. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you look on YouTube, you see like 13-week update. This is what I experienced during this. So that's basically what that was. It wasn't more of like, I'm experiencing this because I'm 30 weeks pregnant or something. It wasn't really correlating with what I was going for. So that's the reason why I pulled back. I did mention in most of my podcasts that the reason why I had a delayed episode, or the reason why I sounded a certain way, or why we should do self care today was because I was pregnant in this particular point. I was in this particular point of my journey. So that's the reason why I stopped on the updates.
Marcos also says, I grew with her.
Oh my God.
I freaking love him, I swear. So, as you were talking, I thought of a couple of questions. First of all,
Okay.
what does creating an episode mean to you?
What do you mean by what does it mean to me?
When you create an episode, do you create an episode because you have to, or because it's something that helps you grow, or it's not just let me get this episode out because it's time, or is creating an episode part of your growth? It's part of your evolution. What is it? What does creating an episode mean to you?
Creating an episode for me means that A, it's growth, and B, it's something that I realized that I've seen for myself, and it's time for me to share it with my listeners. Um, and yeah, like for example, for my depression, I have noticed countless things kind of like factoring towards my depression. But because I've had all this stuff so pent up that it was a way for me to vent. And so for once I vented and I got it out and I spieled to the world, to my listeners, that this is currently what I'm going through, I was able to grow from that, because after that I started to see, which is really weird, because when I do an episode, I tend to grow from it, and I tend to see what I have never seen before. It's like they take off my glasses and they clean them, and then they're like put them back on, and you're like, holy crap, why didn't I not see that before? Where was all this? During this time, that I could have avoided this whole depressive state, or I could have avoided it. So it's definitely growth, and it's definitely what I see, and it's at that point it's my time to share it with everybody, so that way they can see it, in my view, basically.
You mentioned that had you known that, you could have avoided this whole, depressive state. Now, do you think that if you would have avoided it, that you'd be able to be in this, as aware as you are now? Or do you think that you would have been able to grow to where you are now, or it would have been a completely different direction?
No, I would still probably be with my foggy glasses going through the world, just continuing my day-to-day life. I wouldn't have grown from it if I didn't experience these things.
We've talked a lot about how you've grown and how you've evolved. Tell, Share with us how you've evolved. What does your growth and your evolution look like?
Um, well, my growth has been, I think I started experiencing it. When I first tapped into the world of intuitive reading, guidance was probably 16, which is probably when I hit rock bottom for myself, because I was really, negative. I wanted things to be solved for me so that way I can get a quick fix. And then as I went, I kind of took advice of what my guides were telling me. And so, and I just want to put a disclaimer that if anybody goes through the growth journey, goes through the intuitive readings, For one, they're not going to tell you what where to go, what the answer is, because that was what I went in and wanted to get. Like I wanted the answers of how I could fix everything. And two, it's going to be really hard, like very, very, very hard. I think it was harder at the beginning than it is now. But as I grew, I was kind of like shut off to that world because I really didn't quite believe in it just yet. And so it was harder for me to grow in the sense. So what I mean by growing is I was really negative. Everything that could go wrong went wrong, and I always blamed it on life. I blamed it on, what I could do better in the future. How can I avoid this? And so with that mentality of being negative and all this stuff, I kind of took it day by day and kind of started to research, doing sessions on how I can evolve from this method, I guess you can say. And so as time went on, I started breaking old habits, and I started bringing in new habits. And I will say, more recently, for example, when I was back in 2016, I had, I think she was like 4, my daughter was 4, I want to say. And I had a really bad relationship with my body image because I always had a horrible relationship with my body image since high school. I mean, it's just what it is. And so it was really hard for me to become pregnant, gain 60 pounds, and then try to lose it all over again. So I had this mentality that I was always fat, that I was never going to be where I wanted to be. Now, today, fast forward 7 years, I have my second daughter. I think I gained about 50, 60 pounds. And I started to lose weight. But now the way that I look at my body is a lot different than what I look at my body before. Before I would be disgusted. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm never going to lose this weight. Now I'm like, I'm good as long as I'm out of the unhealthy range, that I know that I shouldn't be in, and I know that what I need to do in order to lose this weight, I'm good. I'm like today, and the old me would have never did that. The old me would have been like, yeah, no, you're never gonna lose that weight. I would, I guess, like attack myself in the sense. Um, so yeah, I don't know if I really answered the question, but
You did answer the question. You did. And I'm going to
okay.
say, okay. So you said you were sharing with everybody because when you start choosing to get in there and start doing the work and making changes, it's hard. It is very hard. And that's called shadow work. That's the shadow part of us, all the hard stuff, all the stuff that we want to avoid, that we want to bypass. You were blaming it. You said you were blaming on things on everybody else. You were attacking your body. Addressing those things, looking at them in the face and figuring out why you did it or wanting to change it. That's our shadow work. So shadow work is just all the crappy stuff in our lives that we just don't want to deal with, or we won't want to look at, or that hurts our feelings or scares us, whatever. It's different for everybody, but that is a shadow work. And yes, it is very hard. It's very emotional. It's very painful. For me, it wasn't physically painful, but it's painful. It's sad. It's scary. There's crying. I mean, it's different for everybody, but that's how it was for me. And it was the best horrible experience of my life. I
Yeah.
can't even explain it. It feels so good to have gone through all that crap, through all that muck, through all that gunk, because it's like, shit, I did it. I'm here. I did it.
Mhm.
I didn't escape it. I grew from it. And that's the best part, is to know that you didn't escape it and you didn't bypass. You literally walked right through it and got hit by all the vines and bit by the bugs. And you literally got through it because you chose to grow from it. You chose to get through it and like, all right, this is it. I don't want to be stuck like this anymore. So I'm going to get out of it. And that's what you did. And it is
Mhm.
hard. It is hard. It's very, very hard. Now, I also, you said that, at first you didn't believe in it. You didn't believe in that stuff, right? What does that mean? What stuff? What is it?
I didn't believe in, goddess, or I didn't believe in guidance. I didn't believe in intuitive readings. You hear all these stigmas about it, like at every corner in your city, it's like a palm reader, $25, or I can tell you your future, or this and that. But my first reading, I want to say, wasn't with you because when you were kind of tapping into your guidance journey is when you were going to this local shop,
Hmm.
which was the Enchanted Cottage. And so that's when you referred me to. And when I went, it was kind of weird because she was like, well, I see this, I see this, I see this. But it's not like, oh, I see your future and all this stuff. She just sees things that could go down my path. Now, the problem that I had back then versus how I know now is back then I tailored my life to what she said. She said, you're going to have a son. You're going to go back to school. You're going to do this. And then automatically, because I was working in my medical billing job at that time and I had our one child, I was like, okay, we need to make a child. I need to
Make a child.
start school. Yeah, I was like, I need to start school. I need to do this because this is what she said. Which, by the way, again, disclaimer, that's not how it works. That's not how the universe gives you the stuff in your life, the things in your path. And so that's the stuff that I was talking about is the guidance, the readings. And so from there, I was like, okay, because I had a big slap in my face because I started school and it totally failed. I could not do it. I was trying to work a full-time job and then go to school from 5 to 12 o'clock at night and then get back up again. And so that failed. I had to quit within a week. And then, having another child financially just was not in the cards for us. And so after the universe was like, hello, lady, like, listen, this is not what we're trying to tell you. This is what you need to work at. And looking back now, I guess you could say I did finish school and I did have another child, but it wasn't a boy. So, the universe lays it for you. It's just if you want to take that path. And I know that you always reference, you always say, the universe, your path can change at any moment. You can decide what you want to do differently, and so things that you relay to us from our guides are going to look different. And so that's basically what the stuff is. The guidance, the guides, the angels, everything that you mentioned on your page is exactly what I did not believe in. Even our first reading, I remember I remember we were at mom's house, which is my grandma,
Which is my
and you were
house.
doing,
This is where I live.
yes, yes, it's Anna's house, and you were doing a reading, and we were sitting on the kitchen
Time
table,
out,
and
just for the record. You were the only one that says my name like that. You were the only
oh,
one that I will allow to say my name like that.
oh,
No
Anna,
one.
sorry.
No. I like it the other way. Nobody calls me that but you. Nobody
This
ever
is
has
your
permission to call me the way so say it the way you say it. I just want to lay that out there so people don't be like, "Oh, no. You pick your way and
Anna,
that's what you move forward." But anyway,
professionally.
as you were
But
saying,
we were sitting at the kitchen table. I was on one side, and then you were on the other side, and you were like, okay, you want this reading, okay. So you were doing it, and I was like doing it in the sense of like, okay, I'm gonna pick up this card, but I didn't say anything. It's just the way my body language was. And you were like, this is how I can see you're doing it. I'm gonna pick up this card because she told me to choose a card, and then I'm gonna sit here and wait to see what she tells me. Which I thought it was super weird because it was like, how did you know what I was thinking? And B, I just couldn't. I was uncomfortable because I was like, what is she gonna tell me? What does this consist of?
because
And
normally
so,
when it comes to readings or the I don't know, the spiritual, the magical world, so to speak, people expect you, when am I going to die? When am I going to do this? They
yeah.
expect all this Hollywood stuff, and that's not how it is. And I want to say real quick that the reason I asked you what you feel it is or what, believed in that stuff is because I think that really what it is just believing in ourselves because
Mm-hmm.
the only way that we could even acknowledge the fact that our ancestors are with us, our spirit guides, our guardian angels, is the fact that we have to believe in ourselves enough to know that we have the support team around us. Because if we don't believe in ourselves, there's no way that any of that can exist to us yet. It cannot present itself to us because we don't even believe in ourselves. So I think that that stuff, so to speak, just because you said it, is truly just about believing in ourselves. Because I never believed I was a really mean person. I was a really hateful and spiteful and a defensive person. I was mean. I was a really bad person. And it took this life event for me. It was a horrible life event, and it took that to change everything for me. And it's like I never even considered believing in myself aside from like, yeah, I'm a good worker, I'm a good employee, yeah, I'm a good professional. That it's like inside, it's like I didn't even know that shit existed. It's like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like when I started to learn all that stuff about me, that it actually existed inside of me and who I was and how I was created and what we were born to do, it's like all of a sudden I was able to see like, oh shit, all this stuff is a part of me. It is who I am. It's all inside of me. So I think that believing in that stuff just really means believing in ourselves. Not like, oh, I believe that I can get that done. No, truly believing in ourselves as human beings, this, the spiritual aspect of it. That's how I see it. That I mean, that stuff is just really believing in ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, the when you had the first reading, and also you said that how does she know what I'm thinking? I don't know what you're thinking. I am not a mind reader. I can only convey what's coming through to me. That's all I can do. So if I'm sitting here, whatever's coming through, yeah, I am there and I'm present. But for the most part, it's like my brain just gets to like sit on the sideline for a minute while all this other stuff just kind of flows through. So yeah, I'm conscious of it, I'm aware of it, and I know I'm saying it, but I'm kind of just like like the faucet, like if you turn on a faucet, right? The water's coming through. The
Yeah.
faucet's not really doing anything. The water's going through. It's there. It know it can stop it, but that's like I'm the faucet. That's what it is. So I'm
Okay.
not reading your mind. All that stuff is just coming through, and I'm just the vessel. That's all we are. But anyway, so yeah, the first reading with you was very interesting, and I told you were being resistant. I told you had all these walls up. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I very
Yeah. But
much remember.
that was pretty much it. It was just it just was that it took me some time to get used to the idea of what your particular journey was, and I, for some reason, I was really intrigued in it, so I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep doing this, maybe it'll help me. And then eventually over time, it did. And like you said, it's just believing in yourself. It's having faith in that you can change and you can be better from what you used to be, only if you want to.
Yes, that is
That's
true.
enough.
A lot of times we forget about our free will, and like you said, you experienced that reading, but because and you tailored your life to the things that she was saying. She was, like you said, she was not predicting, she was showing you the map that was currently in front of her based on the choices that were happening now. So at any point,
Hmm.
if you changed any of those, now then your map starts to change, and that's what it is. We forget about free will. It is so easy for us to forget about our free will because we're so used to these bad habits. We're so used to, we have conditioning from society and all this other stuff, family, whatever. We're just so conditioned to these bad habits that it's just so easy for us to blame others or to, they got me in trouble. It's not my fault, or because of you, this happened. And it's so easy for us to just completely dismiss our free will, knowing it is literally our free will that's creating all these things for us, creating all these up, in whatever the case may be. It's our choices. It's our free will that is creating this map in front of us, and we just we don't like it. Just all of I don't even know why. I don't know why we just all of a sudden decide that our free will doesn't matter. Like, yep, I chose that, but it's his fault. It's his fault that this happened. It's his fault that it's not.
That's that kind of goes hand in hand with what I think like last week I just realized, because I'm a, like you mentioned before, I'm a people pleaser, but I allowed myself to give others permission to define how much I'm worth in my life, like how successful I am, how non-successful I am. And I realized that, because I felt really crappy after this situation. I felt horrible. Like I had an episode, and I call them episodes as far as my depressive state. And then for some reason, because the past week or so, I have been seeing, not even week or so, like 2 weeks, I have been seeing consecutive numbers. You mentioned them on your Instagram where you see like 11, 11, 1, 11. But I've seen 12 12, 10 10, 3, 333. I've seen a lot of these, and I never really, I just thought that I was making them up. Like, I'm looking at the time at this specific time because I'm aware of it. So every time I see the time, I look it up online and I say, okay, what does this mean? And all of them meant growth. Like, you're going to experience growth. Growth is going to be happening. And then all of a sudden, after this crappy night, I started to realize that I'm stressing and that I'm getting depressed is
Wait, you
because
cut
I'm
out.
lo- oh
You said you start to see that you're getting depressed, and then I didn't hear the rest.
I'm starting to get depressed because I am allowing others to define how worthy I am as a person. And I've always had that problem because it's kind of like I talked to Chris and I told him, I use this example, like Toby, our dog, right? Dogs are waiting to please you, the owner, right? And they do something and they roll over or they jump or they do something and they're like, voila, like, I want a treat now, like, reward me for what I have done for you. And so I told Chris, I said, I know this is harsh to say, I said, but this is me in a sense. I am waiting for others to say, oh, Elizabeth, you're successful, or good job, you graduated, or I want them to put a value on what I've accomplished. And so in a sense, it's kind of like they're throwing me the treat, like, cool, I got it. I got the acknowledgement. I am worthy. I am this person. And it took me a long, 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 very long time to see that I was allowed. Somebody's ringing my doorbell.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. Um, I was allowing others to define my worth, and so it was kind of hard to see that for myself. After that one specific event, I was like, you know what? I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be in this depressive state anymore. So what do I need to do? So and I sat there and then I used the example with Chris, and then I saw it for myself. It was kind of like I was sitting here and I was watching TV and it came out on TV and it's like, this is what you're doing. Oh,
Wait,
it was Chris.
It's what?
Oh no, somebody was at our door, so I was just hearing.
Oh.
So it's kind of like you were seeing it on TV for the first time, and I was seeing it, and I was like, am I really allowing people to do this and define who I am as a whole? Why am I giving these people so much permission to do this? Why? Like that was my main question. Why am I allowing them to do this? And it goes back to the whole, you know, throwing the dog a bone. It just, I wanted them to reward me for what I've done, so that way for myself I can accept it and I can feel successful. I can say, yes, I am successful. Yes, I've accomplished things in my life. Yes, I mean something to this world. And without that acknowledgement, I got depressed because I was like, I'm nothing in this world. I am just a stay-at-home mom. I am not successful. I am not anything. I am just here. And so that's the reason why, that whole situation.
That's a very powerful statement that you just made, which is, I'm nothing. Is that what you said?
Yes.
That's what you said. That's a very, very powerful statement. And I'm glad that you took that statement and you you allowed yourself to see it first and foremost, because awareness is the first thing. That's the first step. And from there, decide, am I going to keep feeling like this, or am I going to start looking at different options, And I'm glad that I have not consistently listened to all your podcasts, but, and I have to admit, disclosure, my family does all these creative things and I am inconsistent with it because I'm on TMI, I'm always in some kind of ridiculous pain. I've had the spinal
Yeah.
surgery like almost a year ago, and it's just, I expected differently. And the reality of the situation is it's a process that's going to take, I don't know, like a million years, and I just got to deal with it. So I can't always keep up with that because I'm always, sleeping or in pain or something. Anyway, because what I'm saying this is I don't want to sound like I'm a horrible aunt or I'm a horrible sister because, you should be listening to their podcast. I do. I don't always have the physical opportunity to do so. So that's why I'm saying that, because I'm going to ask you, did you make a podcast? And I should know, obviously, if I was listening to all your episodes, but did you make a podcast around that statement? The awareness, the fact that you were aware of the fact that you said this, you felt this, you saw it, and you wanted to do something different. Did you make an episode surrounding that I am nothing, I don't mean anything to this world? Not specifically those words, but that feeling or the moment in that you were experiencing or looking back and talking about it. Did you make an episode on that?
I made an episode at the point when it happens, but I did not make the episode after the realization of when I realized it. I made the episode where I was practically in tears, informing, that it's not that I use it that I am not the main phrase that I use is that I am broken. That is what I use in my depressive state. So in that episode, that is what it was, the heat of the moment is what I made it. And then when the realization, it happened just recently, actually. So no, I have not made an episode.
How did you feel when you were creating that episode in the heat of the moment and the tears? How did you feel taking what you were experiencing it and literally putting it into words, literally putting it out there? How did that feel?
It felt really like I was vulnerable. Kind of like nobody was like I was a child, like a little tiny child, and all the adults were all in this group, and I was trying to scream and shout to them like, "Hey, this is what I'm going through," and nobody was listening to me, and so that's kind of how I felt at the moment, at the heat of the moment. And then once I was publishing it and I let it out for the world to hear, it kind of felt like I got this weight off my chest, kind of like I could breathe, but during the time I was just a mess. It was hard. It was always hard, even in my day-to-day life. It was always hard to talk about that specific situation without having tears coming down my face, because it was just something that I couldn't emotionally get through. And I couldn't figure out why.
Were you able to figure out why, or did you just manage to just get through it?
No, I figured out why. That was the reason why.
Well, that's good. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah. There's two things I want to touch on. Actually, I want to take a time out real quick. I love having this conversation with you. I like it. It intrigues me. I love hearing you. I love, visualizing how you're grown. Because yes, I'm your Thea and I'm experiencing it, but not from your perspective, not from a personal level. So I enjoy hearing how even the conversations that we've had and the sessions that we had and everything that we have shared, you have taken from it and applied it to where it belongs, so to speak, or where you want it, and how you've completely changed the map of your life. And I'm happy to hear that. I'm very proud of you for having gone through all these steps, for having gone through the evolution, for having cried, for having been depressed, for having been scared. I'm so happy to hear that you have gone through those things, because had you not, we wouldn't be having this conversation now.
Yep.
And so I'm happy about that. So I want to take a little time out. I have to, because I want to say something real quick before I just jump right back into it. As you all know, I'm the creator of Goddess Guidance. And what that is literally, what that means to me is I feel as though we are all goddesses, and it's important for me, or the idea behind creating the Goddess Guidance space is for all of us to step into our divine feminine strength. That is very difficult for all of us, because sometimes when people think of feminine strength, they think of the female role, they think of a woman, and then it changes into a wife and changes to marriage, and it changes into submission, or it changes into like people pleasing, or it changes into devaluing, and it changes like I live for others, not for myself, or I don't care about myself. I'm only doing for my family. I'm only doing for this. That's what it looks like that's what life looks like right now for a lot of people that are female, or identify themselves as female or women, whatever the case may be. my goal is for the understanding to come about that we have that divine feminine strength inside of us, and it's important that we understand it and that we acknowledge it so that we can step into it, because that, I feel like, that is the first step to starting to see how we can make all these changes in our lives. Because if we don't believe in ourselves that we have that divine feminine strength inside of us, then we're not able to believe in anything else or to see in anything else in terms of ourselves. I hope that made sense. But I have a public page on Facebook, the Goddess Guidance page, and there is where I share. It's public for everyone. There is where I share. I should get the thing. I share a lot of stuff from people I follow, on different social media accounts. A lot of things that they say, I share because it resonates, it fits. They're saying what I'm thinking, and I constantly share things all the time. I share, personal conversations, and on there, I also have. I do various raffles, and we have a new raffle coming up. And this raffle, the raffle item, the raffle gift is, this book. It's the Essential Oils Aromatherapy. Can you guys see it? Okay, it's not backwards, is it?
No.
Okay, see, it's a pretty thick book. This is the next raffle prize. Okay, and it's a brand new book. Actually, I have been blessed with an abundance of books and cards and just things that I don't want to just hoard anymore. So I'm going to start gifting them. And I've started to gift these things, and people have given people books, I've given them bracelets, I've given them, all these different things, and I want to continue to do it. So I do so through raffles. So this is the book that I have. It's a brand new book, and I'm gifting it through the raffle, and the raffle will start tomorrow. So I'm going to post the raffle guidelines today, and it'll tell you, when it starts, when it ends, what is required, how it's going to go about, and how we determine if the raffle is even going to take place. Because if the minimum guidelines or requirements aren't met, we just don't have a raffle. So go over to my Goddess Guidance page and check it out so you can join the raffle, so you have the opportunity to win this book. And it's not going to stop. There's just going to be so many more raffles. So please go check out my page. Actually, having said that, let me find the page so I can copy and paste it. And then also, once you go there, you will see that there's a private group that you can also join. That is called, I will do the link to that too. And there is where a little bit more, not intimate, but more conversations take place, where we can be a little bit more open. We can share things that are a little bit more personal to us, things that we don't necessarily want to put on the public page. So that's the group that I've set aside for that. Now, in order to join the private group, there is a series of questions that you need to answer. When you request to join and there's questions, those questions have to be answered in order to be approved. If you don't answer them, because a lot of people bypass them, I just won't add you. So please be sure to answer those questions, and so that a request, sending your request to join, so we can just add you on in there. And there too is where I do a lot of the live card pulls. And what that consists of is either, sometimes I do it not live, but I'll take a picture of the deck, ask you to, hit me with an affirmation, and I'll pull a card for you. And I do all the card pulls and the mini readings in that group. I don't do it so much on the public page. That's one of the benefits of being in the group, is you get the mini readings, you get the card pulls, you get all these little extra things. So that's what the private group is for. Elizabeth, are you in the private group? I don't remember if you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are, because you always you are always there when I do the card pulls and stuff. Tell me, what can you share with us? Because I'm obviously going to rant and rave about the page, because it's my page. So can you tell everybody your experience, or can you give feedback about what the Goddess Guidance page is from your perspective? Because obviously I can't do it because I'm biased. So
The guidance page, as mentioned, is just basically somewhere that a group of women can kind of coincide with each other. You a lot of times do some posts that are like, if you post, let's talk about something that is really bothering you today. And so if you post your comment, make sure that you take or read the comment above yours and you say something positive to them, which I thought was really cool, because it gives you a chance to A, step out of your comfort zone, B, give somebody that you actually have no idea who it is, and compliment them, because it makes their day. They don't know who I am, neither I don't know who they are, and so it kind of like brightens your day. And before, I would kind of go and vent on there, and I kind of would say, don't do this, be the opposite of what this is. So it was kind of a way for me, an outlet for me to kind of express myself, and other women kind of do it, and they'll comment, you got this, keep going. So it's basically just a community where you can go and vent and get awesome feedback, or
You
get
cut out. You
and things
said
like
vent
that.
and
That's
get what?
pretty
You cut out. You said vent and
um
get what? Awesome. I don't know what you said.
vent and get some positive
Oh, cool.
feedback back, and motivation and all that stuff. That's basically what it's for.
Thank you
Well,
for sharing that.
you
I appreciate it. So we talked about that. Also, if you want to book a reading, visit my website. You can get more information on that. Plenty of other information about how you can, book a reading and reach out to me, and blogs and events. So let's get that out there. And I want to jump back. Do you still have time? Because I want to jump back into some other things that I wanted to talk about with you.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, actually, one more thing for any family members of mine that watch this I don't know, this video. Oh, this video. Sorry. Whoever, any of my family members that watch this video, I am presenting the offer of getting $10 off an intuitive reading. So instead of it being $40, you will be $30 for you. Only if you are watching this, because otherwise you would never know that the information existed. So if you watch this video and you would like to get that reading and take advantage of that $10 off, this is only for family. Please reach out to me. Don't book it on the website because you won't be able to get the discount there. Reach out to me directly and let me know that you saw this video and that you would like that $10. You're going to take advantage of the family discount. So let's see. I was going to think of a code word to know that you have to tell me to know that you watched this video. What's the code word? What should the code word be? Think of something.
Coffee talk.
What?
Coffee talk.
Coffee talk. There's the code word. You reach out to me and you say, hey, I watched that video. Coffee talk. You will get that discount for family only.
You're gonna
Okay?
be like, what?
Coffee talk. Let me write that down because people are gonna be like, coffee talk. I'm like, I don't drink coffee. What do you want? All right.
What are you talking about?
So there's the code word, family only. This is exclusively, I should say, for my family. If you would like to get a reading with me, I'm currently offering a $10 discount for family. Reach out to me and we can get that set up using the code word coffee talk. If there is no code word, unfortunately, I cannot, I cannot present, I can't offer it to you. Okay. Family only, $10 off using the word coffee talk. No, don't go through the website and book it because you will not, there's no way that you can even apply it. You have to reach out to me directly. Okay. If you are someone that, if they're part of your community, Elizabeth, and not necessarily mine, and if they reach out to you, you can pass them along to me via, the Facebook or my website or however way. Okay. They can do that too. Okay. So let's see. Is that all I wanted to throw out there? Yes. I'm not sure who else is out there, but, I will just, if you're still there and you're on, just let us say hello. Let us know that you're still there. And it makes me happy to know that you guys are all still out there listening to us as we go on and on about this. I don't know, conversations like this intrigue me. I love them. This is why I created the Goddess Guidance, is for all of this. It's for all this interaction, for the sharing, for, talking about our experiences and our evolution, and primarily the support. And that's what I love about it. It intrigues me, as you can see. It gets me all riled up and gets me all happy. All right, so now that we got all that back out of the way, well, not necessarily all the way out of the way, but now that I've shared all of that with you, again, you can visit our Elizabeth's podcast and my website. The links are all in the chat, so click on that, and then after this, I'll go in and add them into the description as well. Okay, let's talk about specific episodes. Okay, I don't know if you can remember back into your early episodes. In episode 4, you said it's called Be Confident and Love Thyself Tuesdays. Okay. But you said, I don't believe in self-love. Why do you now believe in self-love or self-care? Yeah, self-love. Do you believe in that now?
Yes.
Why didn't you believe in it then? What did that mean to you? Hearing the self-love, what did it mean to you then that resulted in you not believing in it?
Well, what it meant back then was the same thing it means now, but it was basically loving yourself. And I couldn't quite grasp how to do it. Like, I just thought the way that I can love myself was taking 5 minutes away from my kid and doing something for myself, which sometimes that does entail as self care, but more of self love. I just couldn't grasp the meaning behind it. And so, like I mentioned before, I had a really bad relationship with myself as far as body image and as far as, just negative talk and all that stuff. Now I believe it because I actively tell myself, and even when I started journaling, I actively tell myself what are three things that I love about myself. And it's kind of awkward at first when you're writing it, and I'm like, oh, I like my hair, I like my butt, I like my, this. And so I detail it more towards my body is because I've always had a bad relationship with my body in itself. And so I believe in it now because you can't, and you always say this as well. You can't, if you cannot love yourself, then you cannot love others. And that's why I seen this quote on Pinterest that said self care, self worth, self love there's a reason why it starts with self,
Mm-hmm.
because it has to be you. It's for you. And so that's the reason why I believe in it now, is because, you know, I practice it actively.
How does it feel to you that it's now actively part of your life, that you embrace it and you ensure that you're tending to yourself and your self-care and your self-love? What does that feel like to you now? Because I imagine before it was more, actually I don't even know what it felt like before, but I think that it felt like it was, to you, is more like a trendy topic, a trendy thing. Like, yeah, everybody talks about self-care, self-love, so let's talk about it. Even though I can't vibe with it, let's just put it out there because it's trending, so to speak. So when things trend, like they're going back on the screen, like, oh, it's trending, and grab that and then start, talking
Hmm.
about it or working with it or whatever. So how does it feel to you now? Literally, what does embracing self-care feel like? What does it feel like to you right now?
Not so much embracing self care, because I'm still working
Or
on self
self-love, I
care.
should say.
Yeah, I have a lot of work still to do with self care. But as far as self love, it really doesn't feel any. It feels different because before I was trying really hard to do self love, like make it happen. Like you said, a trend. I was attaching it to my photos that I took of myself, and I'm like, this is what self love looks like. But
Yes.
now I don't have to try. I know that, like I mentioned before with my whole weight thing, I look at my weight and I'm like, awesome, I'm losing weight. But I just go about my day. I don't attack myself. I don't say, like, oh, you need to be thinner, you need to be this, you need to be that. It's this time around, it's not as hard to self-love myself because it feels weird, but it's sometimes I don't even notice it. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm doing it. This is what it is. And so when you're invested in it and you're practicing it, you tend to not notice that you're even doing it. You're just like, oh, I now realize that I have a better relationship with myself than I did before. And so, like I mentioned before, once you start loving yourself, you're able to kind of reflect that love on others. And so with that, I was able to have a better, not like a super better relationship, but my relationship has improved with like my husband and then with my daughters, because I don't want my daughters to grow up and experience the same thing that I've experienced my whole entire life. As far as self love, I want them to be confident and love themselves, which Isabella has no problem with. She is
Good.
just, she has,
I've been practicing that with her also since she was
she
little.
she doesn't even need it because she takes after Chris. She takes after her dad. She does not care what others think of her. She does not care.
That's
And
good.
that's why I always say in my podcast and everything that she is my role model, because I take after what she does. It's confidence. It's who cares what you think of me. That's her. That's her attitude. And so that's why I am working. They are the reason why I am working with self-care, self-love, my growth, my self-development, um, is because of them, because of mainly Isabella, because she's the oldest one that can see. She can see every move that I make, every tear that I shed. She sees it. Well, why are you crying? Why are you this? She questions it. And so my whole thing is that we grew up. Um, we grew up with putting our emotions to the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
You don't let your kids see that you're upset, that you cry, that you're weak. And granted, I don't let Isabella see that, but sometimes when I slip up and I can't hold my emotions, I just tell her, I'm just having a bad day. Mom's having a bad day. I'm because I don't think that she's old enough to understand. I don't want her to open up to that aspect of things in the world yet. She's not ready for it yet. I don't want to expose her to it. And so that's the reason why I'm going through this journey through all of it, is because I need to not fix, I need to mend what has been, in order for my daughters to exhibit it in the future. And so that's what self-love is for
I
me.
was, my next question was going to be, how has all this affected your relationships in your life? But you just answered that, so I'm happy to hear that. Now, okay, you've spoken to us about the motherly aspect, the relationship with your children, but I noticed that you just briefly skimmed over the relationship with your husband, or the being the marital and the being a wife, and in the aspect of your growth. I noticed that you skipped over that real quick. Is there a reason for that, or is it just something you never gave thought to, or how has that affected, you being a wife, your relationship, with your husband, obviously without getting into details, but what does that look like now? Because I noticed that you say a lot, believing in it, believing the self-love, believing the self-care, but you said it yourself, they all believe with self for a reason. So I noticed that you don't say believing in myself, you say believing in self-love, believing in self-care, but that is believing in you. Because if you didn't believe that you deserved all this love, or that you were worthy of all this love, or taking care of yourself, I don't think that you would be where you're at now. I don't think that, you know, I think that you would still be in the, I don't know what that, I don't believe in self-love or self-care. Does that make sense what I was trying to say?
hmm
I kind of just rambled.
hmm
But so what does that look like in terms of your marriage? Well, how has that evolved, or how has that changed? Or, you know, what kind of conversations has your husband been having with you in terms of what he's noticed, or how you've changed? What does that look like? Or yeah.
Um, so as far as how I've changed, it's kind of hard for him to say that, because he was changing himself um, during the time of his last career. He was going through certain situations, and so our marriage was not. It was kind of like every issue that every marital couple once gets into, is that you and your husband start to feel like roommates, and because you're in the motion of everything and you're dealing with everything separately.
Mm-hmm.
And so I
Yeah,
was
I
trying to
understand
go
that.
through my journey. I was trying to fix everything that I possibly could in order to benefit him, because I knew how unhappy he was in his career. And so I wanted to do everything in my power to get him out of that situation and into a better situation. And he'll tell you, one day I, because again, I did not believe in my self-worth. I didn't believe in myself, that I've contributed, that I've always looked at myself as, I've just been a mom, I've just been a wife, and that's it. That's all I am as a person. And so he'll tell you, he told me one day that he thanks me because I have done a lot for not just this marriage, but just for us as a family, because I worked to help him get out, because the way I see it, income maker, and so therefore he is the one that has the most worth. Like in our relationship, he's up here because he works, he brings home money, and I don't do anything other than take care of my children. And so Chris has, before, when we were doing our separate journeys, um, we never talked one on one. We had talks here and there, but never one on one like we do now. And so we were a lot different, and we kind of molded and grown as we've gone through this journey with me and then with him. And now fast forward to us today, when I've gone through my depression state, we've talked a lot. I was able to kind of, at night, when the girls would be asleep, I would able to vent to him, kind of express that the type of feeling that I feel. I'm feeling,
Wait, hold
want to
on.
be happy. I
All I
want to be
heard
well.
was you tried to express the type of feeling that, and then it cut off.
Um, the type of feeling that I was feeling as far as in my depressive state was because I was able to vent to him, and that I just wasn't happy, and that I just didn't know what was wrong with me, and I couldn't figure out why. And so he would always tell me, you do a lot for this family. I don't understand why you can't see that. Why can't you believe it? And so Chris has always been my cheerleader as far as self-worth, and is, if he sees people that come in my life, and because he always says it, I need a backbone. I've always, before I was married, in high school, middle school, whatever, I've always lacked a backbone in my life, and that was because I lacked the self-worth in my life as well. And so he always tells me, every time people come in my life, that I just allow people to just step over me. I allow them to use me, but he doesn't step in or overstep, because that's something that I have to figure out for myself. And so I feel like from where we were before and how we are now, we've molded a lot as a couple. And back with self-worth, because I'm realizing how much I'm worth, I am more, I'm a little bit more happier. I'm not as like aggressive, because when I have my episodes, I tend to pull away from him. I tend to have a depressive state, and of course, that does something to your marriage, that
Mm-hmm.
makes your spouse feel like he is not worthy enough. Something's wrong, or the things like you don't like. Oop, hold on, that's my mom.
She knows we're live.
I know.
Sister,
Um,
we're live. You know that we're live.
Your camera's off now. Oh, there it goes. There it goes.
I was like,
It's
what?
on. No, it's on. But
Okay,
yeah,
now
so
your camera's
basically,
off. Oh, I think that's what your
no,
mom
it's,
was calling. Because
yeah.
there's a little bit of a lag, so it takes a little
Oh,
bit.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on,
You want me to text
hold
her and
on.
tell her we're live?
No, I'm gonna do it. Hold on.
Oh, dang, sister, we're live. Buenas tardes.
I know.
So while you're doing that, let me share. Let me ask you this.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, yeah. So we've been on for like an hour and a half. So I'm probably gonna we need to start wrapping it up now, because we can just go on forever. So
Yeah.
let's close it up, or let's start to bring it to an end with this one more observation that I made in one of your episodes, and I can't remember I didn't know what episode it was, but the exact line was, "What do I have to forgive myself for?" And you were talking about, you had said that I had mentioned that, we have to learn to forgive ourselves, but you didn't understand what you had to forgive yourself for. What did that mean to you at the time? Forgiving yourself.
Um.
Why did you make that statement? What was it? Yeah, what was behind that statement?
Well, I made that statement because I probably heard you talk about it, and so it kind of like pondered in my mind, like, what is it that I have to forgive myself for? Why do I need to forgive myself for, if I didn't do anything to myself? What
Yes.
did I do wrong? And so I kind of sit there and I'm like, like I don't have
You're
to
like,
forgive
done.
myself
This
for
course is
anything.
passed. Next module.
I answered the question. I mean, this is, I don't need to. But now, seeing it from a different aspect, I need to forgive myself. Or I have been forgiving myself um, for months and years of the way that I have treated myself. in, I was in a bad relationship with myself. Like those physical, mental, abusive relationships people get into, that is exactly what I had with myself. I was mentally and emotionally abusive to myself, and I have to or I forgave myself for the things that I have told myself, like the things that I've told myself, the hateful things, the allowing myself to get to where I've gotten, the darkest depths of everything, and so that I've forgiven myself. That's what it means to me now.
When did you, how did you get from not knowing what to forgive yourself for now knowing it? How did you get from point A to point B? What was it that triggered that, or that was that pivoting moment for you? How did you get to understand that better?
The way I understood it better, it was kind of like a ripple effect. Once I unlocked one thing, it kind of just fell into place with all the other things. And it wasn't right away that I was able to correlate like how I forgave myself. It was, you know, probably most recently that I realized that, how I was able to choose the things that I forgave myself for. So, if that made sense.
It did, because it reflects on how it reflects on the, I guess, the stages of your awareness, how you believe, what being aware looked like to you back then, or what it felt like to you, where you feel like this is my life. Of course, I know what's happening, yeah, of course I understand it. But then all of a sudden you go into these phases, and you tend to evolve. So your phases of awareness just grow, and they build, and it's like your awareness looks like this, and then now it looks like this, and then now it looks like this. So it's like your awareness has expanded so much that it's allowed you to like to take in so much more and to understand. It's like, oh, I know what this is. I can apply this. Oh, look at that. And you start to take them and take them. It's like your awareness is it's bountiful, and it's full, and it's just so expansive. And that's what I hear, and that's what I see as you talk about what you've gone through. Your screen is gone. Where are you?
I know, sorry, I had to
Oh,
write back,
well,
but I'm back.
that is
I was listening.
how I hear and I feel when you talk about, your awareness, or your evolution, or all these different experiences. That's how it is reflecting. So I'm really happy about that. I'm happy because you are where you are at now, because you've done the work. You know what it means to do the work, and you know what it means to, number one, ask for your guidance, and to listen to it, and actually believe in yourself to know that the guidance is there for you. And your divine spiritual support team is there for you, and it is talking to you, and they're just ready to be there for you, because that's their purpose, is to be there for you and to guide you. Key word being guide, and not necessarily lay out all the answers for you, because I know that was really, you had a really hard time with that. It's like, well, what's the answer? Well, what I do, and I kept telling you, they're showing you what to do. Every the tools are right there. Pick what the answer is going to be. And it's like, that was really difficult for you. Like you mentioned before, you wanted the answers to be given to you. You wanted, the cards, or so to speak, or the reading to tell you what to do, or to tell you how things are going to be. And it's like, that doesn't even necessarily cross your mind so much anymore. Yeah, bad habits are hard for us to outgrow and to release, and we all still do, certain things, but it's not like how it was before. It's like now you're reaching out to your own divine spiritual support team. You're looking to, understanding that everything that you need is there for you. It's inside of you, and it's all around you. So it's like you're starting to use all the tools in your tool belt so much more. And I can see it. I know everybody else can see it. And I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of everything that you've accomplished. I'm proud of you creating the podcast. Thank you for coming on here and sharing all your experiences with us, because I greatly appreciate it. And I know that now people are aware of your podcast and what it consists of, and it allows for the opportunity for people to reach out and to, like you said, to relate to you, and to understand that, yeah, you're not the only one, that they're not the only one that's human and is going through these depressive states and these highs and these lows, and there's someone out there. So I hope that people check out your podcast and they listen to it, because you have a lot of real stuff to say, a lot of the life is kicking my ass things to say, and how you're coming out of that. So please, please visit her podcast, and also visit my website. So you guys, if you want to book a reading with me, or you want to just check out my blog, please visit both her podcast and my website. So is there, you know what? I was supposed to do two random card pulls and I didn't get a chance to do that. So maybe I will do it next time. So is there anything else that you would like to add before we wrap it up?
No, not that I have.
I hope that you have enjoyed coming on here, talking with me, and literally making your entire life public to the world.
Yeah.
Because that's what we've done. So I'm sure that you knew that's what it was going to be about. And I know that I gave you a little bit of a guideline as to what it was going to be, but literally I just ask whatever comes to me at the time. So that's how it is. And I, as you can tell, it intrigues me and I love it. I really, really like doing this. So again, for all my family members, if I am offering a $10 discount on an intuitive reading, a 30-minute intuitive reading. If you would like to take advantage of this offer, reach out to me directly and use the code word. What was the code word?
Coffee talk.
Coffee talk. Reach out to me like, hey, Anna, I heard about the discount. Coffee talk. And that's it. We'll set it up. We'll get everything set up. Okay. So if you reach out to Elizabeth, same process, and she'll, give you whatever information you need to contact me so we can get that set up. Okay. So thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for taking time out to listen to what we have to say, for supporting us, and just basically supporting us. So thank you very, very much. And I guess we're going to wrap it up. So we will see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.